How you doing, guys? Big Matt Nanswell here again today, back once again with another episode of Warhammer 4000 Conquest series for you. Today we're going to be taking a look through the pages of issue 76. It's going to be a quick one. Welcome back to another issue of my Conquest show. Today, like I said in the intro, if you didn't quite catch it because I said it so fast, we're going to be taking a look through the pages of issue 76. And this is going to be a really quick episode, simply because there are only 4 actual pages of content that aren't the how to build section. The how to build section, because it's quite a complicated kit, it takes up a lot of the pages, the vast majority of the pages of the magazine. So let's take a look at the front cover. Or first of all, we'll discuss the value of this issue. It's exactly the same as last week's issue. So the Repulsor itself is £45, and the kit is spread over 4 issues. So we're getting a Repulsor for £32. It's £8, around £8 an issue, just under £8 an issue. And yeah, the Repulsor's 45 quid, so you're saving 13 quid. Is that right? Yeah, that's right. So yeah, you're getting a Repulsor for a fantastic value there. But taking a look at what else is in the magazine, we've got the Repulsor Tank Part 2, Space Marine Tech Marines, and the evacuation of Corvon 2, and that's pretty much everything that's inside. So turning to the first page, we'll take a look first of all at Tech Marines. Some Space Marines have a great command of war machines. These warriors train with the Adeptus Mechanicus and join the machine cult, becoming Tech Marines. And there's a load of lore on this page and the following page about Tech Marines. We've got Master of the Forge on the next page as well. The highest ranking Tech Marine in a chapter is a Master of the Forge. These skilled engineers have proven their understanding of the machine god's mysteries is almost as great as that of a Martian tech magi. This allows them to maintain not only the chapter's ancient war engines, but also its precious relics. The Master of the Forge is given the honour of fighting in a full servo harness, a multi-limbed exoframe with many blessed machine tools. This device can undertake high-level repairs upon damaged war engines, as well as taking a bloody toll on the enemy with its array of deadly weapons. And it also talks about Thunderfire cannons below that as well. A Thunderfire cannon is basically a mobile weapon platform. It's on a set of tracks, and it's got a massively high rate of fire and does a ridiculous amount of damage to whatever you fire it at, basically. They're used in sieges, but they're used against enemy vehicles, but hunkered in enemy positions. Turning to the next page, or just looking at the next page, we get how to build Primaris Repulsor. And like I said, it's a lot of pages here. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. This is longer than the rest of the issue. 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 pages of how to build Primaris Repulsor of the 24 pages of the magazine. Now, that to me is perfect, because if they'd split the how to build section over a couple of issues, it would have just complicated things. It's better, surely, because there's going to be a probably equally long or near equally long how to paint section as well, I imagine. Probably not quite this long, actually. But yeah, putting the 14 pages all in one issue, or 16 pages rather, all in one issue, just keeps it all together. And the great news is we've got the bulk of we've got all of the bottom part of the Repulsor now, so we can start building with the parts of the Repulsor we have. We can start building and get the bulk of the machine built. It's a simple guide. They've got a few simple tips in there, like stick some adhesive putty to your base for when you're painting, so that when you come to glue it down onto the base, it'll properly adhere when you're using the plastic glue. If you cover a piece of plastic in paint and try to use plastic glue with it, it probably won't stick very well, because the plastic glue literally melts a bit of the plastic to the other bit of plastic you're trying to attach it to. So just remember that if you are painting first, then you may need to scrape off a bit of paint to reveal bare plastic in order to get a secure bond, or you can think about using super glue. But even if you use super glue, that's just sticking paint to paint, and that can chip off and the parts can become separated anyway. So yeah, there's a few little tips in there as well. They talk about all the details on the build guide. Certain areas are picked out. The repulsor turret can be fitted with a variety of optional weapons, and then it talks you through the various options, or shows you, guides you through the various weapon options. And yeah, it's a really in-depth build guide, which is what we need for this kind of kit, I'd say. People who've been in the hobby for years may just be happy to clip the bits off sprue and just start gluing it together, but newer people to the hobby, who this magazine is targeting, don't forget, they will require a more in-depth guide like that. They probably will, vast majority of them will. On to the next page, Rules Mission 59, Nowhere to Run. With most of the Ultramarine forces tied up escorting supply convoys and withdrawing the remaining wounded to Barachius, several of their forward operating bases have been left lightly guarded. The Death Guard's Lords of Contagion have begun targeting these positions, hoping to break the enemy's chain of reinforcements and command, and restrict the area in which the Ultramarines can operate. The hab city of Scorn was one of the first areas to be struck by orbital bombardment when Death Guard fleet arrived in the Corvon system. The majority of the city is a ruin, but it sits in an important position with commanding reach into the surrounding wastelands. It's also an excellent artillery observation point, and several Corvonian artillery divisions have holed up in the city, pounding the Death Guard forces from behind the ruins of its walls. Lord Felthius has ordered a typical Death Guard strike on the base, sending waves of poxwalkers into the city, clogging the enemy's sight lines and choking the streets with rotting bodies. In the wake of this tide of undead creatures, Plague Marines and Death Guard vehicles trudge steadily towards the Ultramarines' positions. Space Marines' communications have been severed by Death Guard sabotage and sorcery, and no reinforcements are coming. They will have to fight this battle alone, using their skill, determination and resilience to hold off the advancing enemy. The true battle for Scorn will take place in the central plaza of the city, amidst the shelled-out ruins of hab buildings and industrial equipment. It will be a grinding battle, with both sides grimly holding onto their ground in the hope that the other will break and abandon their valuable location to the opposition forces. So it's a fight for a city and a key area of ground, really, this one. That briefing just sets it up nicely. I thought I'd read the whole thing, seeing as though I'm nearly at the back page now. But looking in more detail at the mission, it's your typical mission. You get the 3 battle mats lined up side by side, and you can choose how to set up those battle mats in the way we've been shown in previous issues. There are 2 objective markers for both players, so there's 4 objective markers in total. And you've got to place them. You roll off to see who deploys the first one. They must be deployed more than 6 inches from a battlefield edge and more than 8 inches from each other. And the armies are built up of Ultramarines and Death Guard, obviously, and they must be a maximum power rating of 40. So this represents the fact that it's not the main force of Ultramarines and it's not the main force of Death Guard in this fight. It's a smaller force. So whilst we have been fighting at power level 50, we're dropping back down to 40 for this particular fight. Both deployment zones are shown on the map above. We've got deployment zone 1 in yellow, deployment zone 2 in the orangey red colour. Both players roll off, the winner chooses their deployment zone. Players then alternate deploying units, beginning with the player chosen to deploy first. The player who finishes setting up their army first takes the first turn. Eliminating an enemy unit gets 1 victory point. Have a unit in the enemy deployment zone at the end of the game, 1 victory point. Control an objective marker, 1 victory point. And then it goes on to explain how we control objective markers. The game lasts for 5 battle rounds, so it's a nice little mission there for us. And turning to the back page, what are we getting in next week's issue? You've guessed it already, probably. If you haven't and you've not been watching these past few weeks, we're getting more repulsor parts. Next week, theoretically, should be the turret of the repulsor, and then the following week should be the bases, if my source is correct. I don't think it's actually been confirmed by Conquest and Hatchet Partworks yet, anyone involved in producing the magazine, but a reasonably reliable source, I think, has stated that it's going to be the final sprue next week and then the base in the following week's issue. Yeah, that's all we've got for this issue. If you want to watch another video, I'm going to, at the same time as this one goes live, I'm going to have a Mortal Realms video live. and it's issue 5, which contains Xandria Azure Bolt, a limited edition miniature, which is effectively, it's the Lieutenant Calcius of the Mortal Realms. It's the limited edition miniature that you can only get in Mortal Realms magazine. So, if you want to watch another video right now, definitely head on over to that video and check it out. We'll leave it there for now, guys. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you on the battlefield.